This episode of Super Pulp Science is brought to you by Gear and Sea, a new book by Claire C. Marshall set in the same universe as Cassian Tonk and Rust and Water. Come to the book launch this Saturday, June 22nd at McNally Robinson at 7 p.m.
Attention, citizens. It's time for Super Pulp Science.
This is Super Pulp Science, where we talk about how genre gets made. I am back with my long-suffering co-host, Justin Curry.
I'm alive.
He is alive, yes. And Dan.
Hello.
Our producer, and also long-suffering co-host.
Yeah, I'm not that suffering that much.
You don't suffer.
No, it's fun.
We're not suffering. Anyway, Justin just got back from Denver.
Denver.
What's the official name of that show?
Denver Pop Culture Convention?
I saw you posting and I can't remember. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And?
It was good. It was
Yeah?
really good. Yeah. I had a bigger spot than I thought I did.
Uh-oh.
I thought for sure I had just gotten a corner. Turns
Right.
out I had a corner and a booth, so it was a 10 by 20.
Denver
Whoops.
Pop Culture Con.
That's it. Yeah.
Denver Pop Culture Con. And dear listener, before you're like, how could you not know? It's because everybody's shows are similar takes on the same kind of name, Expo Con Pop Show,
Yeah,
right?
most people.
The only one that is different that I know of has Quest in the name.
Quest. Although there's a Jurassic Quest in town this
Oh,
week
no.
Nice.
at the convention center. You can go see animatronic dinosaurs. I think it's actually done now, but it was on this past weekend.
Oh.
So they had the word Quest.
How dare they?
There's also another Quest somewhere else. I can't remember, but whatever. It's okay.
Do you know the story of, was it Salt Lake Comic Con got sued by San Diego because they...
Yeah, San
Yep.
Diego owns the name
Comic-Con.
Comic-Con,
yeah.
yeah.
And Salt Lake
And only
went
its
around
affiliates can
like
use it.
at San Diego advertising the Salt Lake Comic Con. And San Diego was like, you can't do that. It's our name. Can't advertise at our show. Like, don't. And then they kept doing it. So they were like warned on more than one occasion. And then
Oops.
finally San Diego...
Is that a true story or just a story from the floor?
Story from the floor. I have
Story
no
from the
idea
floor.
the...
No, there's some truth to it, though. I remember
Yeah.
seeing an article about them claiming the Comic-Con thing.
That I knew, because even
So-
my dad, who is not really like up on Comic Land, it made the regular news.
Yeah, it did.
You know,
yeah.
yeah.
And it's like, I mean, the phrase, I think it's specifically Comic Con, not Comic Convention. Like a comic convention is something that anybody can have, right? A
Right.
convention around comics, that's all it is.
Yeah, but the truncation
Yeah,
is a trademark.
that's the. But the thing is, with Comic Con, with San Diego, you kind of just already go there. Like most, I mean, here in Winnipeg we have our Comic Con, but that's not what it's called officially. But I think that when you think Comic Con, you think San Diego.
I'm old enough to remember when photocopies were not called photocopies. They were all Xeroxes. It's that same kind of thing.
Yes, like Saran Wrap or
Right.
yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So
The brand gets associated with the product.
yeah, and that's
For
what
sure.
they were really trying to do, I
Yep.
think, is maintain that.
Yep.
And I guess there's some strength to that, right? Like you don't want like your Shattered Vector stuff, right? We've had how would I put this? Conversations with near associates to just say like, this is a style that I'm working on, so don't ape it, right?
Please and thanks.
Please and thanks, right? And that's I think that's a reasonable. It's not unreasonable. You can have other words, but then is Fan Expo? Have they trademarked the Expo part?
You can't trademark Expo.
Well, why not? It's short for exposition
Yeah, but...
Well, I
Too
don't
common.
think they have. There are a lot of expos out there.
or expedition.
Exposition.
Exposition. You're
Yeah.
right.
Which is weird.
We go on
because-
expeditions to expositions in our jobs. Okay, but we got off topic. Denver. Why was Denver? Tell me about Denver.
I'm just looking at the
Comic-Con.
guests they had there. They had some good guests. They had Nigel Longbottom, the actor who played Nigel Longbottom in Harry Potter, was there, which is awesome.
That guy. He's so different now. We saw him at another show. He's like big, tall, and muscular.
Yeah, that's right. They had a funny meme out there with the Harry Potter cast where they showed, I guess it was Ron and who's the dude that plays the blonde kid, the jerky blonde kid.
Oh, Draco
Malfoy.
Malfoy.
Yeah, him, and then they showed he looked like, and then the guy plays Matthew Lewis, who plays Longbottom, and they showed them as adults, and Longbottom's clearly the best looking out of them now, or something. He's like getting ripped, he's super good shape, and so he's come out of his chrysalis, so to speak. And George Takei was there. You don't get to see any of that though.
I don't get to see
That's
any
too
of
bad.
it, but
That's the one
sometimes
drawback of
sneak
your
through the green room.
job. Do you really? Well, you do.
Well, I
You have.
have. Not on purpose. Sometimes I'm invited.
yeah.
Sometimes I'm invited.
One thing that I noticed that I really liked is this was show number 5 in a row for me. It's been like 5 weeks.
Oh,
like
yeah,
5
you've been
cities.
just grinding. That's right.
I'm super excited to be not going anywhere for a little bit. But the last couple of shows have been shows that I've been doing for years, like Ottawa and Calgary and stuff like that. So for anywhere from like 5 to 7 years, people have been seeing me there every year. And so even though a lot of these people are still buying things, it's not as, like, it's almost like it's a different kind of excitement.
Right.
And in Denver, I was there once 2 years ago. So I've been exposed to a very small percentage of that crowd.
Right. So your whole catalog was new to
It was,
people.
yeah, it was like I was a shiny new booth and everybody was excited about everything. And it was just
that's
like,
such
it
a
was,
cool feeling, yeah.
yeah, it was reinvigorating because, I love like the customer loyalty that I've built up at some of these shows, but it was kind of nice to be like brand new again.
Well, okay, and there's a side of that too, related to, you can't help but wonder sometimes as a creative person that has a following, are they doing it now out of habit
Right.
and loyalty, or do they genuinely connect with the work in an exciting way? And so when you go to a new place and then you feel that all again, you're like, oh yeah, right, okay, there is,
Yep.
I haven't lost it. I'm not yesterday's news already.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. What was the organization like at that show? Who
It's
runs that? Is that a Reed Pop show?
No, Denver, I think, is its own thing. Denver Pop Culture is just its own company, and it's run very, very well. They do have security at the convention now. A lot of American conventions have, like, you have to go through almost like an airport type situation. They check your bags and stuff, but it was all
Smart, I think.
They had a lot of lines. Everything was very smooth. We didn't have to like wait around for too long. It was organized very, very well. Nothing to really report there.
No hot goss from the
Which
Denver
is,
show?
that's what you want, right? Like,
Well, I
nothing-
don't want you to have had a bad experience, but I do want our podcast to be full of, your bad experiences. No. So did you have any, you traveled, this show you did also by yourself, right?
Did it all by myself. I probably needed 2 people at this show.
Yeah. So I was going to say, because that's a huge space for one person.
It's a big space, but I was pretty happy with how I organized the booth. It was almost like one table was just display, and then I kind of like, I angled
Funneled
it so people would stand at one booth just looking at everything, and then they'd have to come to the corner to actually talk to me. So yeah, it created a bit of a funnel effect.
Interesting.
And it was it's a juried show for the Artist Alley, so similar to like in Seattle, it's very noticeable, like the level of artists. It was more so than that. I think more fine artists and more traditional artists.
Cool.
The talent at Denver was insane. I don't know
Really?
what they're doing differently, but
Yeah, I'd made a concerted effort the last little bit to not do too many shows. I'm just trying to like be in the family zone a little bit more right now. So watching Justin fly away, I did have a little FOMO, but I've been enjoying. I have some projects that I'm working on right now, and just being in the studio or being at home or being more available has been interesting. Because I told myself it's what I wanted to do, but now that it's happening and he gets on a plane and goes to some faraway adventure.
You just live vicariously through Justin.
I'm back now.
That's why I want the hot goss.
Our friend Quirky Licious had he got a table there, and he got his table fairly last minute. He didn't know he was going to be able to do the show. He was able to do the show, and so he just kept bugging the organizers to see if there was a spot available.
That's
One
good.
popped open. So I always recommend, like, it's the power of like dripping on organizers to get
Politely.
into politely, very
Yeah,
politely.
as an organizer, I can say, please be nice.
Yeah.
When you come and say, hey, do you have any tables left?
But there's always a chance. Is what
Yeah.
I think early on I never thought there'd ever be a chance, but there's always a
It's
chance.
so much easier when somebody does drop out at the last minute to have somebody to be able to
Right.
slot in there. And there's a few people. We've got a bit of a wait list going right now for FanQuest because we are sold out. But I mean, it's so now I feel fine about it because now I know there's at least 2 or 3 people who want to jump in if somebody gives up a table,
Right.
which
Well,
is
and for
awesome.
so for the dear listeners thinking like, well, it's past the deadline, whatever. What I found I would do is I would let shows know, because I often get in shows last second, just because I have a family schedule. So it's like, no, I don't think I can go. No, I can't go. Oh, I can go. Okay, I'm gonna try to get in. I will email the organizer just like that, just like a slow trip. But I will say the deadline up until how late they could let me know. So right up, including the day. Like I will say like, I've booked my ticket, but it's transferable. So right up to the day, you can let me know whether I can come or not, right? And if the answer is no, then I use that flight
For something else.
for something else, and it's not a big deal, right? And I find that that's good for an out-of-town show. Like if you're trying to organize that, you don't want to be on the hook for flights because your flight price doubles or triples the closer you get to the date.
You tell anyone I just told you that, and your ass is grass, you're dead, Henderson. You understand?
Drake was placed beside Cyanide and Happiness were there.
Oh, cool.
And Cyanide
Those
and
are awesome.
Happiness are, like as internet famous as you can get.
Yeah. The lines when they're there are usually bonkers.
So he had to talk to them once about their line bleeding onto his table, but other than that, they were apparently like very nice to be beside. But I think, I was wondering how that would affect his sales. I've never been beside somebody with that amount of pull.
Right. Well, I've been. Yeah, I find it good. But I mean, people talk about there's the legend of the skip effect that some people talk about. Chris, what's his company name? It's like Kershak.
I want to pronounce it correctly. Kiyosaki. Kershak.
How do you spell it?
Oh, God.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chris.
Yeah,
but we
it's
got
his
your
last name.
right.
It's
Yeah.
Kiyosaki.
But anyway, we had a conversation once about this idea of the skip effect, that they don't like being by a big booth because they feel like people arrive, spend their money, and then they're starry-eyed staring at the thing they just got because they're sort of in that bubble, and so they wander away.
Yeah.
And so whoever's next door misses out.
They've spent their money in this area,
Yeah.
and now it's time to move
Move
on.
on to another area.
Doesn't matter if there's still neat
Yeah.
things around.
I think that's more superstitious than actual, but I'm sure,
Be interesting to. Has anybody ever done any studies about this, like consumer behavior at conventions or anything like that? Be interesting to know.
People try. Actually, tying into that, across from me was a booth that we talk about this a lot, about presentation versus talent at a booth, right? Like people who are amazing artists but don't really know how to display themselves versus people who are just starting out but they have a huge display. This booth was a 10 by like 40-foot booth. It was massive, and it had all kinds of lights going on. They had it was like a light show going on, and their prints were like not the best quality of prints, but it was so lit up and so vibrant that everybody couldn't help but come and stop and just look. And I was just it was kind of blowing my mind how well that worked, just like putting on a light show.
I've noticed that
without much
more
to
and
back
more
it up.
booths are bringing their own light setups.
Interesting.
I mean, Quirklicious does that.
Yeah. He brings battery packs, like
Yeah.
like laptop battery packs.
Yeah, so
and-
for the dear listeners thinking about shows, there's a pretty large cost associated with getting quote-unquote power.
They tried
at
to
your
charge him for electricity because they saw he had lights and they just assumed he was stealing power. So he showed up the one morning and there was like a bill for electricity on his booth.
I love the passive aggressiveness of like just placing the bill there without actually
But
coming
he
to
just
talk
had
to me.
batteries. Yeah, and you can get travel batteries now that last a whole day for LED lights.
He still, I think he has to charge them every night. Like he can
You charge it for the night.
Yeah.
But
Huh.
we also have friends who have like Frankenstein car batteries.
That's just messy. I
Yeah.
Yeah,
wouldn't
people who are
want that.
driving, they drive big trailers full of stuff. Yeah,
That's risky.
that is risky. That is risky. The ink's not dry on it yet, but I'm doing while you were away, I was talking with people on our floor here about, so I did this Red Earth thing that had all this projection work in it, and so it led to a conversation with a media company here, and until I have a meeting tomorrow, but I may have this fun, like heritage related project that I'm working on, which is like tangentially not comics, but it's words and pictures together projected in a big space, which
Cool.
to me is like, it is comics,
Yeah.
it's comics where you don't expect to find them.
Yeah.
And a lot of fedoras, which is one of my favorite
Hey.
things
Always
to
good.
like
Yeah.
to illustrate. anyone familiar with the history of Winnipeg or Manitoba in general and correlates the date can probably figure out
I see. I see what that is. Yep. I know.
So there's that, and then I have I'm talking today with I don't know if I guess they're technically a startup publisher about a project about putting Arena City in with their stable of projects. So that could be more stuff that will keep me in the studio and traveling a little bit less. So I'm not sure exactly what my convention schedule is going to look like, but FanQuest is the next show, and then San Diego Comic-Con after that. But that one I'm going to go media hunting a little bit. Justin's going to be there holding down the booth, and I'm going to go talk to some people that I know in San Diego.
Okay, so you guys are going to have a table you're having it like a Chasing Artwork table? Are you doing your stuff as well?
Yeah, I'm not going to have all my stuff. I'm going to have only the stuff that I have that's related to the Chasing Artwork brand. So all the kids' stuff, all those books, all those projects.
Good machine, essentially, is what we're talking.
Yeah. And just, it'll make the conversation a lot cleaner.
Yes.
Like, while my ego says, bring all your stuff too, I'll bring my stuff just as examples.
Yeah.
Right? And what we'll focus on is pushing the books that we have a shared interest in, because the art is all connected. So if I show somebody something and say, hey, come back to the booth and see what else we do, it'll have one unified brand sort of experience. And I feel like for what we're doing in the all ages space, that'll be way more important than being like, hey, I also do other things.
Yeah.
Right? So
this is your first time as a vendor as an artist vendor at
this will be my first time as a vendor at San Diego.
And you did it last year, Justin.
I did it last year.
It's the second time for you. Exciting. So once you're in, right?
Yeah.
You're in now. That's awesome.
And
one of these days I got to come down and see you guys there. I got to go. That's one of my bucket list things, is to go to San Diego.
Well, the best way to go to San Diego is to know, like, honestly, as someone who went just as an attendee, and now as someone who goes to shows regularly, the better experience if you want to go to a really busy show is to go connected to somebody's booth, where you can help out at their booth a little bit, but then you have a vendor pass, so you don't have to wait in that line.
You guys need some help?
Right? Maybe.
No, I don't think I can go this year, but I would love to. And our mutual friend Lyndon, who loves it when I shout him out on this podcast, he will not stop talking about the time he went to San Diego and saw the infamous Star Wars panel. Where they took everybody across the street to watch a performance of Star Wars orchestra music conducted by John Williams.
Right.
That was
actually John Williams was there?
Yes. And he was there, and he was in that panel in Hall H, and he got to go across the street and watch.
Okay, that's bucket list for sure.
Yeah.
They can't. It's not going to happen again. Like, when is that ever going to happen again? Yeah. So anyway, that was. But he always
also,
kind of
dear
brings
listener, if you ever get a chance to see an orchestra live,
for sure,
it's chilling.
It's awesome.
Amazing. Yeah.
Like any even here, Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra is excellent. They did a performance of Star Trek versus Star Wars. Did I talk about that on this podcast?
I don't think so.
No. So I went to see that a couple months ago, and they have it was put together by the hosts were two friends of mine, the Couch Potatoes, who do a show on CJOB here in Winnipeg. And it was basically Star Wars versus Star Trek, and they're playing different themes from both franchises. And it was really interesting. The choice of music was really interesting because they choose things based off of partially based off of what's not as expensive as other things. Like, right. So there was quite a few things. There were quite a few themes from like the prequels, which are interesting, which I imagine is not quite as expensive as the main stuff. But they did have a good selection of both, and it was great. I mean, seeing that music performed live by an orchestra is really. Did
they play Duel of the Fates?
Yes, of course. Yes, that's like the best one. It is. You know, ironically from the not best Star Wars movie, but that piece of music is amazing. And one point that the conductor brought up was that this is music that has like been the soundtrack for film almost the entire time, the entire run of film. Like it's almost always orchestral music as the score, right?
Right. Yeah.
So that is like an amazing thing, and to see that performed live is awesome.
Yeah.
So I definitely would recommend that if you haven't. Go to your local symphony and see something played live.
Who's Mad Max?
Better than you.
Is it you?
You know I despise Dig Dug.
This Friday, I'm going to the launch of This Place, which is the book that we did with Portage and Maine.
Yes.
So it's...
McNally?
It's at McNally.
Yeah.
And it's 150 years. It's every decade of Canadian history, looking at a different Indigenous group through the eyes of the colonized rather than the colonizer, like what it was like to have people show up in your area. And it goes through the whole sort of history of Canada. And I did a project in there with about the Inuk people, and it was really wild to work on. But the reason I'm bringing this up is as far as like new experiences go. I've been in anthology books a bunch of times, and it's really fun because you get all kinds of people sharing news, and it like sort of spreads widely, and that's all like our Netflix news that we can share right after this. But this one I heard from some university professors recently there is an initiative at the UFW to get more of the classes all reading the same book, so that you can have sort of cross-curricular conversations among classes and classmates in years or whatever. And this collection that we're doing, this place, is on that list this year.
Cool.
To be one of those books that's studied more widely across history, English, even sciences, which is a really wild thing for comics to be thrust so strongly in the academic field. So I think Portage and Main, their imprint Highwater Press is who's publishing it.
Yeah,
Portage and Main is
they
the
have a
main
table
publisher.
of FanQuest.
They
very happy with that.
have done something really kind of wild and special. I have no idea how they put it together.
Okay.
I never want to put that many artists and writers all together. Sam's done that. Sam Biko has organized anthologies, but I could never.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, that sounds great. What's the Netflix news?
You can say it, Justin.
We are going to be published in a Stranger Things anthology art book that's coming out October.
Yeah, it'll
I
be
believe
out
it
in
drops.
October.
Yeah.
Both of us
So
have pieces in there.
this is the same company that did the Thing art book that we were a part of. Is it 2 years ago now?
Yes.
The publishers found me at New York Comic Con, liked my stuff, and asked me to submit. And I said I might know somebody else who'd be down for a Thing art book as well. So Greg and I both got into that book, and it's a massive book, and it was a huge success because that was originally I think they only had planned to do the Thing book. They didn't know exactly what they were getting into. And then it blew up far beyond expectations. So now they're doing a Stranger Things, as well as they've got a couple others
of other
planned.
properties that are not yet announced. So
Right, yeah, we can't say the
we
other
also
ones.
submitted for,
But they're up
we-
to 4 books now, and I think we're in every one of them.
And what's cool about this, we're going to get, I reached out to the person who organized the whole Printed in Blood project to be on the podcast, and he said that he would come on. So we'll let him speak a little bit about it. But what's kind of, to me, fascinating, it was like a love letter to a film that he believed didn't get the attention it deserved.
The Thing. Specifically, yes. Yeah.
Reached out to people in genre land, and it turned out we all love it too.
Yeah.
And so getting people to agree to produce work with the understanding that the work you produce, you'll have the rights to resell. Right?
So your image, like the one that's up there with the Thing, that
Right.
one is yours to sell at
As
a
a certain
convention.
number of prints. They give
Yeah.
you, they say, like, you can sell this many prints of that,
Okay.
and that'll be how you'll get paid, right? Like,
Okay.
you'll have to put it in the book. And I think he was probably like, I think that's a pretty good deal if you're already on the show floor selling things, because you'll have essentially a licensed property that you're allowed to sell.
Right.
But he was probably like, you should pay artists for their work also. But to have a, 400-page book, you can't pay everyone a day rate
Right.
and get that book out.
Yeah.
But the overwhelming number of people who submitted based on that model meant that he was able to go to Netflix and to Del Rey and to have a major distribution model and say, listen, this is a thing.
Yeah.
If you allow them the license to resell only the piece they worked on, not to have claim over your IP in any way, just the piece they worked on, I bet we can get a lot of great artists to participate in this.
Yeah.
And man, did they ever. The list on that.
Oh, for sure. And that's such a great series. I'm wondering, was it easier for him to do that with The Thing because it's such an older movie and not as big? Who owns the rights to The Thing? What studio is
That's
that?
a great question. We can ask him.
Yeah, we'll ask him
directly,
that process. And that's because I know Stranger Things is a current series that's on TV. Would it always have to be a movie or TV show? Could it be my mind goes to Umbrella Academy for some reason because that was another Netflix series, but it's already a comic book. So
Yeah.
would they not do Umbrella Academy because it's already a comic book?
Yeah, maybe. And Dark Horse would have a say.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. Okay.
But I've been seeing they did a tie-in novel. They've done a bunch of tie-in novels for Stranger Things.
Yeah,
They've
there's all
got
kinds of
comics
stuff.
out,
They've got Stranger Things Monopoly.
Yeah.
They've got a Stranger Things Ouija board for some reason, even though there's not really any ghosts in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
I don't really know what that tie-in is, but hey.
Does the Ouija board, is it, oh, I know exactly what it's designed to look like.
Is it like the
Talk to the
Christmas
underneath?
lights?
Yeah, no, it's like the Christmas
The
lights.
Christmas lights with the
Oh,
letters. That's what it is.
yeah.
You can talk to people in
Okay.
another dimension. You can talk to
Yeah,
people in the
yeah.
upside down.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And it's just someone under the table, actually. They come in the box, and they scurry under your table, and they whisper things to you.
Yeah.
So, do you feel like that? Okay, so while it's exciting to be like part of a big brand thing, when it gets onto lunch boxes, does it lose some of what it really is? That's my question.
I don't think
I don't have
so.
an answer. I don't actually have a fully formed opinion on this.
The whole idea behind lunch boxes and all that stuff has changed a little bit since we were kids, but I would say that is any way someone has to kind of show off their fandom for something is awesome. If they choose to do that through a piece that you created, that's also awesome. So like to have a lunchbox. When I was a kid, I had a Spider-Man lunchbox. I had Transformers, all these kind of things. Of course, there were the big plastic ones. Remember those big
Right.
plastic ones with the thermos inside?
Yep.
So these days, they're more like zipper and insulated things, but they still have a lot of licensed content out there, and kids love it. They want a specific thing to go on
But
their
are we
lunchbox.
programming? Okay, I'm going to get dark here now.
Uh-oh.
Is this just us programming them to be lifelong consumers? And if so, is that has a negative consequences? Like I can tell you right now that my own kids, we try really hard not to buy branded clothes for them.
Well, there's that. That's a
Right?
different type
Unless
of
they
thing.
push really hard for it.
Nobody's a fan of like Gap. You
No,
know?
but if you try to buy a shirt, just like let's say you're on a budget and you're shopping just where
Right.
everyone shops, finding a shirt right now that doesn't have Iron Man on it for a boy is hard.
Yes, that's true. But does your son love Iron Man?
Well, but if they didn't, will they be programmed to know about
No.
Iron Man just because of the hand-me-down shirts they got? It's an interesting corporate strategy.
Oh, that's a good point. I never
Right.
thought about that because my kids do own. Although my oldest is almost 13 and he's kind of outgrown the character
Yeah.
things. He prefers something with a logo, or he is actually starting to think more about the brands of clothing now.
Right.
So DC and all those, not DC Comics, but the DC
And
skate brand.
And repetition is endorsement. Like whether you
Yeah,
believe it
yeah,
or not,
yeah.
repetition is endorsement. So if a kid is, even if you don't care, right, and you're like, just wear the shirt, it's clean. If it has Luke Skywalker on it, that's an endorsement of that entire thing.
I have no
whenever
problem
they
with him
see it.
endorsing Star Wars.
Sure. But there are other things that are maybe not for kids, like Halo clothes. for
That's
little
a
kids.
strange one for me because Halo is such a violent game, and
But Star Wars, they chop off arms and blow up planets, and it's it's not unviolent.
Luke Skywalker is responsible for the deaths of thousands of people.
This is what I'm saying. And so, do we have a responsibility?
Twice.
Do
No,
we
you
have
can
a
blow up the second one.
responsibility to make certain spaces, we're on a different tangent than I expected.
yeah, no kidding.
Advertising free, and like icon free. Like, what space do you have to imagine things if you're constantly being presented other people's imaginative creations in the context of repetition as tacit endorsement?
I don't have an answer for that.
Right? We're
blow-
shaping the future here.
I tend not to worry about it.
That's our problem, is that we don't worry about it.
I know, but it's not hurting anybody. I don't think it's hurting anybody.
Isn't it?
No.
So let's say you grow up on a steady diet of Star Wars, because now you can be like cradle to the grave. There's something Star Wars for you.
Yes.
The implicit themes inside Star Wars are that you must use violence to achieve your goals.
I don't agree with that.
Name one movie where they don't blow up or kill someone to achieve their goal. Exactly.
Empire Strikes Back.
No, it's constantly. There's no time when they actually follow the words
It's a
that are
war.
being said.
It's a war. It's Star Wars.
Yeah, they have ships that can go anywhere at light speed. They don't have to fight a war. They can go to another planet.
That's true. I don't know.
There's nothing to fight over. The whole universe is theirs. This is what I'm saying. Like,
Okay.
I love Star Wars, right? I love watching it. I love the rhetoric of Star Wars, but the rhetoric within Star Wars doesn't match any of the actions of the characters in Star Wars,
Oh, that's a good point.
right?
Interesting.
And so, is that what we're doing? Like, same with like Infinity War, and same with all the Marvel stuff. Like, yeah, it's great that they come together and they fight Thanos, but what Iron Man is actually pushing for is a fascist regime And then at the end, as in I told you so, sorry, spoilers, he says to Steve Rogers, like, see, if we had only had my fascist regime, none of this would have happened.
Right, yes, right.
Right? So what, like when you surround kids in all of this stuff who don't know better, who don't have, right, some critical thought related to it, are we doing them a disservice by putting Star-Lord with his guns on their shirts and on their lunch boxes?
You're treading dangerously close to like the video games cause violent people way of thinking, I think.
I read a really interesting thing recently which
like
said
just because they're exposed to like movies with violence, they're going to be violent.
I don't believe that for a second. No, that's not true.
I don't totally agree with it, but there is this great argument that's made that if you were an alien person watching our media, right, you could observe human behavior and you could observe the media we consume. Mm-hmm. You'd have to make the assumption that our media is designed to show people murder, rape, and violence on a steady diet. Like, hold on, let me finish.
Okay.
And that when people watch enough of it, some of them, just a few of them, finally get it right and go do it. Like they finally receive the message and then follow through.
I don't agree with that at all.
This is like the least violent time in like the history of mankind, and we have more media than we've ever had.
I wonder.
Yeah,
it's just a different type of violence.
Different type of violence.
There's no more mass wars where hundreds of thousands of people die.
I'll trade you school shootings for fighting you in a field trenches. With a sword any day.
Yeah.
Any day, right? I will go back into trench warfare and take the guns out of my schools.
At least then you're signing up for it.
Right?
Yeah.
Non-combat. So while it is true that like we are technically more peaceful by population quota, right? Mm-hmm. The non-combat deaths, the civilian casualties are at the highest of any point in human history. People who didn't sign up to die are dying in huge numbers.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, where the twist goes.
What if it's the Demogorgon? Oh, Jesus, we're so screwed if it's the Demogorgon.
It's not the Demogorgon.
So science fiction's job is to talk about the present day, not the actual future.
Okay.
Right? It's the metaphor. Science fiction is always a metaphor locked down on top of the present day. So given this context, what kind of trends in storytelling do you think we can expect?
Grander scale. Something I've been noticing, like less and less movies are thinking about just that 2-hour period.
Yeah.
We're getting, now it's like 4 movies all tied together. They don't have like, and it's spread over 10 years. They have a plan.
Well, that's the Marvel method. It's the new Marvel method, right?
New Marvel method, yeah.
Which I really like, being able to, because, there's so many good stories that have been kind of ruined because they've had to be so condensed.
Right.
But now we watch, everybody binges Netflix seasons.
Yeah.
We're used to like 8-hour movies now. We're getting like...
Yeah, and there was this strong argument where people were saying, well, they're only remaking things, they're not adding to it. But I'll see you that argument, which I think is pretty strong, and raise you, whether you like the film or not, the John Wick series.
I'm not up on John Wick. I've only ever seen the first one, but
it's
pretty
ultra
popular.
Violent. But it was essentially an independent film.
It was, yeah. The first one was very good.
That created a world that people wanted more of. Mm-hmm. And the questions weren't, hey, can we have Keanu Reeves shoot some more people in a movie? We could have that anywhere. They wanted more of this secret world that was being hinted at.
I haven't seen the third one.
I haven't seen the third one.
I don't think I've completely seen the second one even.
I only know sort of what happens in the third one because of all the Jon Snow, John Wick memes.
Okay.
Right?
It's so funny. I took my kids to see Detective Pikachu last night, and in the previews, they showed, it was a promo for the Toy Story 4, which is coming out this summer, and Keanu Reeves does one of the voices. I didn't know that until I saw this. So Keanu Reeves is in there, but they're showing the actors kind of quizzing each other in pairs. So Keanu Reeves was with somebody else, and they're like asking each other questions. What's the best road trip song? Because the movie kind of revolves around a road trip, and my son leans over to me and says, "Is that the guy from John Wick?" And I'm like, how do you know who John Wick is?
So this is what I'm talking about, right? This is exactly what
I think he only knows it because of like pop culture stuff. He doesn't really know. He's never seen that movie.
Exactly. But repetition is endorsement. So it's okay for that kid to know about John Wick, to joke about John Wick, and when he sees John Wick, he'll be like, yeah, my dad and I laughed about John Wick. I guess it's okay that all John Wick does is murder everyone.
But he only kills bad guys.
He only kills bad guys.
Yeah.
He's a bad guy.
He is. Yeah, but that's
Right?
that's a very common theme these days in
And when
TV.
we-
Anti-hero.
And when we're
Yeah.
talking about, so you cannot ignore, I think, a correlation between the lone super shooter genre and all of the people who are shooting innocent people in the streets.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's not a correlation to ignore. I'm not
okay.
saying like it's
think you're
it's
reaching.
it's a scenario where
there are
yes,
there are other factors involved,
Yeah.
mental
There are other
health
factors.
issues and that kinds of
It's
stuff.
not just Marilyn Manson's fault that there's school shootings.
No.
I think there's other
it's
things.
definitely not.
Yeah.
In fact, Marilyn Manson. I'd love to have Marilyn Manson on the podcast.
Oh, he'd be great. He's coming here soon.
He's an amazing public speaker. If you've ever seen him speak,
Yeah.
not in his like
I've seen him in concert twice for some reason. I'm
in
not a
his
really
shock
fan of his
jock
music.
sort of thing, if
Okay.
you want to look up some really nuanced conversations, look up interviews with Marilyn Manson
Okay.
about whether or not he's a bad influence on people. It's amazing.
He's
Yeah,
a very well spoken
very well
person. Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with what you said, Justin, about it being longer form storytelling. We have a Watchmen series coming to HBO
Mm-hmm.
soon, and it's actually a sequel to the
Yeah, it's
movie
set, like,
slash
20
comic book.
years after
So
the
there's
events.
so there's stuff like there's a cult around Rorschach and Ozymandias is old. Jeremy Irons plays him, which I'm really excited to see. So there's all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff. So they don't have to feel kind of they don't have that 2 hours to
That
tell a story.
constraint, yeah.
They can really kind of get it out there. So I
When's
think
the
that's
new
good.
stuff going to happen though? I want news stories.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's very true. So it's
I want our stories. Maybe that's what I'm feeling.
that's a very valid point though. They have studios don't want to take risks. They want something that already has a proven fan base, so that there's a higher chance of it doing well. Although that doesn't always work.
Lots of studios are taking risks, and there are like lots of weird, crazy movies coming out every day, but those aren't like the blockbuster budget movies that we're exposed to the most. So I think they kind of go a lot more unnoticed. Than
Right, we have to dig
We
deeper.
focus on like Transformers because that's what's in our
And
face.
I guess maybe what I'm feeling is the absence of my relationship with the actual rental movie
Right.
establishment, where
Yeah.
you could go and there would be the shelf of all the blockbusters, and then there'd be the shelf of all the other movies that were released.
And those were
you-
the cheaper ones to rent too.
yeah,
So.
but they were often the ones of they had more things to say, and I think
There's been some really great films in the past that have kind of been fringe. Like you're right, John Wick was one of those where it's like independent. Like
Yeah.
even Donnie Darko is another one of those. Like,
Donnie Darko, great
very
film,
very independent, kind of lesser known film, but amazing.
Didn't they make a sequel?
Yeah, they did actually. Yeah,
Don't watch it.
Sammy
Don't watch it.
Darko.
Yeah, don't watch
It's
it.
about his sister or something. I've never seen it.
is it the same actress?
Samantha, it's the same girl.
Yeah.
but
Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal's not in it though. I don't.
Yeah,
think.
no.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, it's those kinds of films that really they still exist. It's just the distribution is different,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not going to catch people's attention as a selection on an on-demand menu, right? Like that
Yeah.
doesn't. So that's why these films are kind of falling between the cracks. Some of them are hitting like Netflix and are being Netflix exclusives or whatever you call it. They are produced and then Netflix buys the distribution rights. But I'm finding that more often than not, Netflix movies are not great. Like they're just, I don't know. There's some of them are good, some of them are not, and it's hard to judge which one's which by just looking at it.
I watched Perfection, was a newer Netflix
Yep.
movie they just dropped, and it's kind of it's a bit of a horror thriller. It was great. It felt like not Tales from the Crypt episode, but it was almost like it was a great short horror film, just like extended out.
A long short horror film.
Yeah, long short
Okay.
horror film. Like the concept seemed like it'd be like something that you'd normally see in a TV show, and they made a movie out of it, and it was great.
Interesting.
Prospect. That was the one you
You,
told me
you
about.
talked
Right,
about
yeah.
that a couple
Yeah,
episodes
yeah.
ago.
I
yeah.
went and tracked that down.
You
That
saw?
was-
Did you see the
I
short?
didn't watch the short.
No.
I'm going to find the short. That was a film that, oh man.
Is it,
production
and that's
design.
a Netflix one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's every now and then you see a film where you're like, oh, I wish I had thought of that.
Why are you Venkman?
Because I'm Venkman.
No, I'm Venkman.
Why can't there just be two Venkmans?
Because there's only one Venkman in real life. We planned this months ago.
Do you think too, like back when in the blockbuster days, like when you would go and rent a movie and the experience of going there, getting it, coming home, and like there was more of an occasion to it, and now it's so easy to just consume and forget that it's almost movies aren't impacting us as much anymore because they're so consumable.
I also find, yes, that's true. But I also find that even when I do, like I went to the library a couple episodes ago, I put the clips were from Time Bandits.
Yes.
For this podcast, and that got me really wanting to watch Time Bandits.
Great film.
A very good film.
Terry Gilliam at its at full power.
But very difficult to find streaming. It's not really available anywhere streaming.
I have a copy of the script and the production notes here in the library.
Very cool. I ended up taking it out on Blu-ray from the library, which is great. The library has a pretty good selection of DVDs. All you really have to do is search for search on the website, find what you want, and then put it on hold. And a couple days later, it'll be delivered to your nearest branch, which is great. But whereas I used to go to the video store and rent a movie, come back and watch it that night, and you get it for like a week, I think, from the library. I've had it for like a week and a half, and I still haven't watched it. I still can't get around to watching it, right? Just because I haven't had time, and it sits there on my, and it's already accruing late fees as we speak. So I don't know.
I'm also seeing an interesting trend among some folks that VHSs are back.
Really?
People are
that's exciting.
Hunting out VHS machines, and it's like they're like a good working VCR is a high item now to find.
That makes me happy.
That people are collecting old VHS tapes again.
Wow.
My dad was in the editing. Well, he still is. He does weddings and grads and stuff like that. And he had a stack of VHS machines because he'd have to, make multiple copies of a tape.
Right.
Yeah.
So if that's true, he's sitting on a gold mine back home.
Well, what's interesting is that as we get more and more immaterial, immaterial, all of those words apply in this case, with our media. The object becomes more special. It becomes our vote for the thing we want more of.
Yeah.
Right? So yes, when you know now, see, it used to be that when streaming services came out, sort of your thought was, all the movies I saw there are still there, and I can find it again later.
Yeah, but that's
but they cycle out. They're not really
do.
there.
Yeah.
So if you
That's
really
very
want the
frustrating.
thing,
You
you
can
need the
pay
object.
more money now on Netflix to get the section that says leaving soon.
Ooh.
It's like an extra $1 to a month.
like
One of the
that.
perks
And it tells
is
you?
it tells you what's on its way out.
But I don't like when the way they use that to their advantage. For example, right around the time where I think it was last year, was the 10th anniversary of The Dark Knight, and I wanted to watch it because I hadn't seen it for a while, and I had it on my favorites list on Netflix.
Right.
And then I went to watch it, and it wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
Man. And then so I rented it or something and watched it, but then a couple months later, there it is back in my list on Netflix. They actually took it off Netflix because they knew more people were willing to pay to watch it at that time, and they do that all the time. The movie Hop. You guys ever seen Hop?
No.
With it's an Easter movie.
Yeah.
It's with Talking Bunny.
You can tell which two of
Russell
us on the podcast
Brand, isn't
have
it?
kids.
Russell Brand is in it.
Yeah.
Yes, he does the voice of the bunny, and it's like to Easter what Jingle All the Way is to Christmas. It's an Easter movie in the sense of there's the Easter bunny and they deliver eggs everywhere. Anyway,
Wasn't it terrible?
it wasn't bad.
No, okay.
There are some good parts to it. It's not horrible. It is the only Easter movie in existence, I think, other than
You know
the
how-
Ten Commandments.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Yes.
We talk about this is it's known as the Christmas movie.
Yeah,
Do you know why that started?
because it was on TV lots
Yeah,
at Christmas
but
time.
there was the way I heard about it, and only the internet could reveal the truth, I suppose. The rights for it. It was a really inexpensive movie to show, and there was a
Right.
lot of open slots around Christmas time.
Because no shows were live. Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So they would just slot It's a Wonderful Life in. And as a result, it's become known as this perennial Christmas classic, but it was not ever shot.
It was a
or
bomb
created
when
to
it came
be
out.
there.
It did
Yeah.
not do well in the box office when
Yeah.
it came out. Yeah, it's one of my
Yeah.
favorite films
Yeah.
at Christmas time. But those films, like Hop, is taken off of Netflix around Easter time and is back. When are you ever going to watch that other than at Easter, right? That's what.
Is that because Hop, the people who own that, jack up the prices to keep it around Easter, and Netflix is we're not going to. Yeah,
that could very well be right.
We'll buy it again when it goes back down in price, because I know holiday movies do that, like Christmas movies quadruple the amount it is to have it on your TV station around Christmas.
Well, and
It's
for the
just
dear
funny 'cause-
listener, there's a difference for TV between acquisition and licensing.
Okay.
So, in part of my other side of my job here, as we've been talking and learning about that kind of stuff, is if CBC wants to acquire your film, that means that you finish it, you give it to them as is, and they pay you a fee, and then they broadcast it. If they license it, it's it can be triple to 5 times the money, but then they have a lot more creative control over that. Streaming services has created a different kind of model where there's an acquisition, and then these acquisition time scales, where the value of that acquisition, depending on films that are like Halloween movies, for example, the acquisition cost, exactly like you're saying, goes up around those times of the year and down after them. So if you're trying to fill your slot of Halloween programming, it costs more to buy the acquisitions of those films. You don't have a say in editing them, but it costs you more to get them. Whereas if you're a network that is producing that film, then you have creative control over what goes into the final cut.
Interesting. All the more reason just to buy your hard copy media, buy your DVDs and your VHS tapes, so you never have to worry about whether or not it's on Netflix.
Remember that?
Unless you want to feel really guilty about single-use plastic.
Remember the trend of
it's already been produced.
Christian blockbusters that would edit movies down so they were G-rated?
I want to find some of these.
Oh,
I
for sure.
want some.
Yeah, I think there's an edit of Pulp Fiction out there where they say fuzzy nerf herder or something like that. They say
no, that's the made-for-TV. The Big Lebowski made-for-TV version
That's right.
is amazing.
That's good.
It's almost as good as the original.
This has been a fun talk. We've gone all over the place.
We've ranged all over. We got deep and shallow here on Super Pulp Science.
That's right.
But I think we maybe have come up to our time limit. Have we not? Yes, we have. This has been Super Pulp Science, where I'm glad to have Justin back in the city. And we're encouraging you to avoid single-use plastics, to wonder about what kind of shirts you're buying for your kids, to think about making something new instead of just supporting a franchise, and joining the fight and making comics.